This is arguably one of the most popular creatine supplements you'll find on the market. It is Transparent Labs Creatine HMB. And funny enough, HMB seems to be making a comeback within creatine supplements. I think TikTok Shop has a bunch of creatine HMBs now, essentially copying this exact formula. But I'm going to fill you in on why that's probably just wasting your money and what to get potentially instead because of HMB. But regardless, I'm going to run through the ingredients, the dosages, the testing, and the price of this creatine to see if it is worth it for you to buy. So very simply, the ingredients there, I'm going to ignore the non-essential ingredients and vitamins. So 5 grams of creatine, 1.5 grams of HMB, and then 5 milligrams of bioperine, which is just black pepper extract. Now, the black pepper extract typically used to quote unquote enhance absorption. Whether it does or not, I mean, it's up for a debate, but regardless, it's in there and it doesn't really matter. 5 grams of creatine, that's cool. Now, I believe Transparent Lab used to source their creatine from Creapure, which is 99.9% pure and the gold standard for creatine monohydrate. And I think they have switched to a cheaper Chinese version. It doesn't mean that the creatine isn't any less pure, but you just know that the German version is tested to be 99.9% pure, so you don't have to select contaminants. Now, the one area of this creatine that I don't like is the addition of HMB, and this goes for any creatine supplement that has HMB in it. And the reason isn't because that it isn't effective, it's because that you're paying extra money for that ingredient to be in there, and it's not effective. And what do I mean by it's not effective? Well, if we actually go into the research, there are many controversies around this, and it goes back over a decade, which is why everything in fitness, everything in supplements, nutrition comes in cycles. That's why we see things come into trend, go away, come back. HMB is one of those and is currently coming back, even though it was already essentially poo-pooed back in the day. Now, Dr. Stu Phillips, who is one of the leading protein researchers, I will quote him, HMB is still a largely useless supplement. And if we go into the research on this, I'm just gonna look at my notes here. The 2014 paper by Dr. Jacob Wilson and his colleagues, and a follow-up by Lowry and his colleagues in 2016, were the studies that really put HMB on the map. But both of these studies have shocking issues with them. Firstly, we can look at the funding. It's funded by Metabolic Technologies Incorporated, and this company developed multiple patented HMB supplements that supplement companies use, and at the time, this was Celtec. But it's not the funding that's the primary issue. Remember, supplement studies don't get funding from universities or donors since they want to fund things that actually matter in the world. Cancer research, children's diseases, etc. But instead it's the fact that Metabolic Technologies Incorporated employees were authors of the study, which is a red flag for conflict of interest. That's only a very small piece of the controversy. The results of these studies are insane. I'm gonna throw up a little graph here that kind of illustrates this. But essentially the 1996 study on the very left shows a 6 kg increase in lean body mass after 10 weeks of training and using exogenous testosterone, also known as steroids. On the right are 3 studies using HMB, ATP, or both supplements. Apparently, HMB and ATP led to similar or greater gains in lean mass than steroids. So if that was the case, why isn't HMB banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency? And why isn't every sporting organization rushing to get the HMBs to give to the athletes? It's obviously because these results are far too good to be true. There's been a lot of back and forth on this, but Dr. Stu Phillips and his team actually released a review on HMB, and they conclude most reviews found no effect or inconclusive evidence to determine an effect on muscle mass, no positive effect on physical function, and no effect on strength. So again, while there's no harm in having HMB in there, you're paying for something that likely doesn't work. So that's just one thing about Transparent Labs Creatine HMB. Now, the one thing I do like is the fact that it has the informed choice tick. If you are a randomly tested athlete, whether you're in a college sport or you're competing at a relatively high level, you could be subject to random drug tests. And if you are, all your supplements should have this informed choice tick or informed sport or whatever other badge there is, which certifies that the supplement has actually been sent to a third-party lab and has been tested for banned substances, so you know for a fact there are no contaminants that can have you pop for a random drug test. This is one of the strengths of Transparent Labs Creatine HMB. Now, you will pay a price for that, plus the HMB that is in there, because this is one of the more expensive creatine supplements. You're paying about $1.67 per serving, which is essentially on the highest end of creatine I think that I've found or seen. So that is something to keep in mind compared to other creatine options. For example, Live Big Eat Big Creapure creatine is sourced from the German Creapure. It is about 66 to 80 cents per serving, or with the discount code in the description, it will be even less with free shipping. So it's about less than half the price just for pure creatine monohydrate. But if you're looking at flavored creatine, let me tell you now, Transparent Labs probably makes the best blue raspberry flavor of any brand there is, because blue raspberry typically is very, depends on the brand, but it can come very tart and very sour. This one is not. And it's easily my favorite blue raspberry flavor of any supplement out there. But I will say, if you do want to get this, there will be a link down in the description. You do want to get it flavored. You do not want to get it unflavored, because even with the flavor, HMB has a smell like sweaty armpits or dirty feet. And as you can see, it's mixed just like any other creatine supplement. So there you have it. Check the links down in the description. Also, check this video next. It's going to run through my top 5 creatine brands, so you can make an informed decision of the creatine supplement that is going to help you with your training goals.